Hello, everyone. My name is Malik L. Train. I'm the host of Health Awareness Talk for SURBROADCAST.com. I'm here today to talking with Sifu Han Lee. Hello, Han. How you doing?
Hello, Malik.
Oh,
Thanks for inviting me to the show.
super. Thank you, Sifu Lee. And I'm here with Sifu Dale Dugas, Arm Palm. Hello, Dale.
How we doing?
Oh, just terrific. Thanks. Now, everybody here today, we're going to watch a little quick example of what a coconut break is. Dale, he specializes in arm palm techniques, also arm body techniques, and you actually got one, so we can see you do it for real. We're going to watch the video first, and then we're going to watch you do your thing. Okay, Dale?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for the invitation.
Hey, you're welcome. Hey, you ready for this, Robert? All right, playing the video.
Hello, my name is Dale Dugas. I'm an acupuncturist herbalist as well as a kung fu teacher here in Hanover, Massachusetts. Today, I'm going to be doing some coconut breaking. I've had some requests, and I'm going to be doing a break in the hand as well as a break on the support. For more information on iron palm training, iron body training, the kung fu training that I provide here, please call me at 781-829-9355. I teach Tai Chi on Tuesday evenings, Wednesday and Friday mornings. Wednesday evenings, I teach South Mantis Kung Fu. Thank you. And without further ado, let's break some coconuts. Now, just to show you, this is in the netting. I just got it from the store. You can hear it. Okay. It's in the netting. I just bought it at the store down the street. What I'm going to do is going to be breaking this in my hand.
Ain't no way. It ain't no friggin' way.
It's broken. Again. Now I'm going to try a hammer fist from South Mantis, Gao Choi. That one didn't have a lot of liquid in it. It was kind of dry. Now I'll do one on a support. Again, this is a table, an iron palm training table that my kung fu brother Bob Mayo makes. He's located in Merrimack, New Hampshire. He's a Julong Bagojang teacher. And again, it's in the netting. There's a seam here. This might be a little easier to break. Easy.
That is too easy, my friend. That is too frigging easy.
Well, for somebody who has really big hands to begin with, the training then makes, it gives you an ability to strike through most objects that other people really have a problem with.
Right.
But it's not what the training is about. It's about other things. It's about learning how to connect to the ground. There's a whole, training methodology that we could probably waste the whole evening talking about. But suffice to say is the hitting of the bag is one piece of that, complete training, whole body training. And that breaking is only a gauge to, test your skills. It's not what it's really about. It's just something you can show people, show yourself, show your teachers, instructors, hey, boom, hey, I can break so many things or this, that, the other thing, within your system using the techniques you have. So it's interesting. It's fun. And, a couple times a year to break. It's not like something you do all the time because the more you break, you're putting a lot of stress, on your hands, on your body. Even when you're in good health, it's just, you're banging on yourself. Even though you're not really banging on yourself, you're banging on something hard. But doing the iron body training as well, once or twice a year is okay, but all the time, you're putting yourself at risk for, injury. It's like anything. Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, slow and steady definitely wins the race. Hey, Han.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about that video and that coconut breaking? I mean, how impressive is that from your martial arts standpoint?
That is very impressive. And one thing I'm glad that Master Dugas mentioned how hard it is on the body. And so I'd like to ask him, based on your experience and in training people, I know that a lot of young people and martial artists who start out, they try to do too much, and they don't have a proper instructor, and then they wind up hurting themselves. And you know, in Chinese medicine, we have this what we call blood stagnation,
Yep.
and these you can actually get clotting, blood clots, and then although you may not realize it when you're young, then later on in life you'll have things like arthritis and other blockages. So it's really important to train properly and know how to do it. And you could see from Master Dugas's hands, they were not deformed, all completely normal and soft.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of these folks who practice iron palm,
Mm-hmm.
they go too far, and they train improperly, and they hurt themselves.
That is so true.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
Echo. Okay.
Okay.
What's the sports?
Mr. Lee, check your speakers. Is evidently they're a little bit too loud. We get
Oh,
the
it's
feedback.
too loud?
Yeah, we're getting the feedback.
Okay. How is this?
Let's see. All right, that's good.
Is that better?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, one thing I was telling people about, Master Hanley, what in your opinion, what's the crossover effect of iron palm training into sports?
You know, iron palm training, martial arts training, the training that you do, Malik, I think is not an end in itself, but it's a discipline. So whatever art you're in, whether it's dancing or martial arts, it's the discipline and the time and energy it takes to reach an end goal, so to better yourself. So in Kung Fu, the translation meaning of Kung Fu is time and effort. You make time and effort into doing something, and you do it properly, then you're going to reach your end goal.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Yeah.
All right, from aspect, most things we play in sports, you got to grab something. All right, so we're looking at a football. You're actually grabbing the football, either to hold on to it or even to throw it. When you're looking for tennis, you're actually grabbing the tennis racket. Okay, when you're looking at even bowling, all right, you got to put your fingers in order to roll your ball. So if arm palm training will actually significantly increase the strength of your your tendons, ligament, bones of your fingers, of your wrist, of your hands, of your forearms. And I think that would transfer to a greater output of power in these particular sports. What's your opinion on that, Master Lee?
Well, I'll defer to Master Dugas on the iron palm. I would say that the focus is different from the grabbing. So you mentioned football, and I hope people will be watching this show after they watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But in terms of strengthening, in martial arts we have different ways of strengthening our grip. We have the sandbag technique, throwing sandbags around. I like these things. I don't know if you can see them here. I have.
Bring yours out there.
Huh? Yeah. They're
Let's see yours,
these
Let's see it. Bring it
balls.
up.
Yeah,
There
these
you
balls,
go.
right? And these are nice because if you get mad at somebody, you can also throw them at people.
I definitely feel you. All right, now we talked a little bit yesterday, Dale, about the transfer of arm palm techniques into professional and the sports in general. You've had some time to think about that. Give me your ideas.
Well, the whole, what we call iron palm is actually one piece of something that you could probably better call iron skills. Mm-hmm. You're not going to just train the palm. You're going to train the entire hand. Then there's training to train the iron arm, your forearm training. There's elbow training in some systems. There's shoulder training in a lot of systems where they're actually using two-man training and hitting bags and
shoulder
trees
press.
And all kinds.
Mm-hmm.
So you're training a body strike through the shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then there's, body training itself. So to say iron palm, we were talking about a little earlier, Master Lee was talking about the grip.
Body skills, yes.
In Iron Palm, it's not really, the grip training isn't really focused. The bag tapping and slapping over time will increase your tendons and your ligaments, but another kind of training he was talking about is that sandbag training.
Mm-hmm.
Some people take that to another level where they get a bucket full of beans, and then what they do is they start pressing their fingers and their hands through the beans. It's resistance, and then when they're in the bucket, they're making hand shapes, they're flapping, they're squeezing, they're gripping. That is really good training for all those muscles in the forearms and in the hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you want to relax at night and you've got your, these are called Baodinglan in Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
Baoding is a city in northern China where these were, well known.
Yes. And they help to stimulate.
Iron Palm training in itself really doesn't talk about finger training, but in the overall scope of what we call iron skills training, iron, whatever training, iron palm, arm, finger, shin, you can train any part of your body if you want to.
Right.
And if you'd like, of course, again, it's just time and effort, as Master Lee talked about. You want to train your Kung Fu. You want to train your Iron Palm Kung Fu or your, whatever system of martial arts you're studying. You want to train it, because if you don't train it, then you're not going to get any better. And if you don't get any better, then, well, people are going to surpass you, and, there's things like that. So as an acupuncturist, I'm always trying to better myself, for my patients, benefit. It's not just for me, it's for them. My martial arts skills, if I don't train, it's fun to teach people, not because I want to teach people, but I have some training partners that I can actually interact with. So, again, looking at all this stuff, if you want to train your hands, it's not just Iron Palm. There's other training involved. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit more explanation on it, because we're talking not just of palm, but of talking of, let's just say, iron arm training, and talk about the entire arm. We can train the entire arm, whether for defensive or for offensive, because if you're getting a grip strength increase and a muscular strength increase in this whole system, we should be able to measure an increase in grip strength, an increase in ability to hold, sport, equipment, whether it's sticks or balls or what have you. So again, we could do before and after. Take a baseline before, give the people this training, give them a certain training time, and then say, okay, in so many months, we're going to come back and we're going to measure you. You should see a increase. How dramatic, again, is dependent on the person and how much they do.
Okay. All right. Okay. See, the whole thing is we got this thing called muscles. In the Western world, our primary focus is on muscle development. Okay, as far as how strong that we get with the bench press and all this other type stuff.
Yep.
In Eastern perspective, the focus is on tendon, ligament, bone development, and also the condition of one's internal organs. Okay, so when we're looking at we know from anatomy and physiology, the muscle just represents the power source. It pulls and everything. Tendons and ligaments are the links actual to the bones or to the organs and distal spots located throughout the body. Okay, so we're only as strong as those tendons and ligaments are. Okay, so by developing stronger tendons and ligaments, we can get more out of the muscles. Okay, we can develop more power out the muscles. That's why when I look at you, you don't have you can't really see the muscles flexed in your arm and everything, but you can get more out of the muscles that you do have, even though they're half my size, because your tendons and ligaments are twice as thick. Okay, so when I go to personal trainers and I ask them what they got in order to develop muscles, they got a whole array of things that they can use in order to develop the physical muscles, because that's our perspective. But when asked, what do we have? What training exercises do you have in order to develop 10 ligaments and bones? 99% of them do not have a clue. All right, so this is the Eastern perspective that we're adding to the personal training or to the athletic menu that's already out there. So we have athletes and coaches out there who's looking to get that competitive advantage over other people to win championships. Tendon, ligament, and bone development is actually it, because you can be half the size of somebody and be twice as strong as they are because your tendon and ligament strength has been developed. Okay, so you won't have a decrease in speed. You could be twice as strong as somebody, although they're twice as big as you, because your tendons and ligaments have been developed. This is why you see these people who are mechanics, people who are farmers, people who are bricklayers and stuff, who's been doing these exercises using their hands and stuff on a continuous basis all these years. They got that natural strength. Their tendons and ligaments have actually developed. And this is what we're looking at as far as not only the conditioning of the exercises with the arm palm and the arm body skills and just the arm skills all together. We're looking at the Dit Dow, or the formulation that's actually used after the conditioning, that can actually feed the tendons, feed the ligaments, feed the bones in order that they can grow stronger. Now, if I ask somebody how to build the muscles, they would say eat 6 meals a day. Eat 6 meals a day, 30 to 40 grams of protein every 3 to 4 hours. That's and exercise and get rest. That's what you need in order to build the muscles. But then, as a personal trainer, if I was to go ask somebody, or if I go try, what do I need to do in order to build the tendons and ligaments? And they'll be like, the most they'll have is isometrics. That's it. Okay? But isometrics is not going to break no coconuts, and isometrics is not going to help to protect you from an injury. All right? But doing the exercises, the plyometrics, or those specific exercises that y'all do in Kung Fu, it develops these tendons and ligaments. It augments the strength to be able to, for you to be able to take a basketball and throw it halfway, throw it to the other end, you one end on the other, and there'd be no problem. Take a football and throw it all the way down from the field from one end to the other, because of the increase of the tendon, ligament, and bone density at the same time learning how to be healthy. Okay, so this is what this radio program is all about today for these athletes out there, for these coaches and stuff out there, is learning how to use these traditional methods in order for you to become better athletes, in order for your teams to actually win, have a better attitude, and also to be healthy. Okay, so not only we have the Dit Dow that helps to feed through the skin the tendons, ligaments, and the bones, but you also got the Dit Dow, what Han Lee was talking about. There's different type of Dit Dows that you actually use in order to break up certain conditions within the body. But it's like I said. But how many people out there are versed in Dit Dow and how to make them? Not many. Not many, fellas. It's you, Han. It's you, Dugas. But most people don't know how to do it. And these athletes are individuals, meaning that they're going to go through, when they're going through this type of training, it's different things are going to be going on throughout their body. And they're must go to a specialist, somebody who's familiar with the Dit Dow and how it works and everything, to get these things addressed. Okay? So if you're an athlete and you're listening to it, you must go to somebody and you're looking to enhance your tendon, ligament, and bone strength in order to increase your strength, in order to increase your speed, in order to increase your endurability, in order to increase your endurance. You must go find specialists such as Master Han Lee and Master Dale Dugas, who can actually help you out with that. Does it work? You just saw my man Dale here break coconuts in front of you. Okay? If you're running and somebody's trying to stop you or whatever like that, and you just doing a little tap or whatever, that more than likely that dude's going to be out the way a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Why? Because you've been doing this shit. Now, the one thing out there on the radio I want you to understand also, V, is this does not happen overnight. How long did you have to train, Dale, in order just to level 1?
My teacher who instructed me on a method, he said, you're not going to do anything for the first year except train. Don't break anything. It's twice a day, morning and evening, for 1 year. And then the second year was once a day for the second year. So I did 2 years of training First year was twice a day. The second year was once a day, and then after that, I train it whenever I feel like I want to. It's a skill like anything. If you want to brush up on it, brush up on it. If you want to train it every day, it's not going to hurt you. Iron skills training does not destroy you. It should build you up. It should increase your strength. It should increase your energy. It should, give you health benefits, not health detriments.
Right.
And so, like you were talking about, using the herbs, the external herbs, there's internal herbs, acupuncture, acupressure. I'm going to defer to Master Lee on this because he's been doing this longer than I have. And I can assume, that he's seen a lot of people in the clinical setting, and he has, really good protocols for dealing with, all manner of injuries, as well as people who want to come in and say, hey, I want to run at better levels, give me a tune-up, So please, Master Lee, I would love to hear, what you think about, treating athletes, with Dit Dow.
Yeah, maybe for our audience, we can define what Dit Dow Jow is.
That would be great, sir.
Because, Dit Dow in Cantonese means fall hit or hit fall. So Jow is wine, so it's hit fall wine, or it's a liniment for traumatic injuries. So there are different types of Dit Dow Jow, and there are different ways of using it for training and for healing injuries. I can tell you a story about how I got involved, and one of the impetuses for me to get into Chinese medicine was when I was a kid growing up in New York. I would be so battered and bruised. I got into a lot of schoolyard fights. Mm-hmm. And my mother was so worried. I remember one time somebody threw a shoe at me, hit me in the face, and it was all black and blue. But my Uncle Henry, who was an herbalist, and he tried to teach me Kung Fu, but I never listened to him. He didn't look like a Kung Fu guy. In any case, I mean, it completely saved me, and it made my bruises disappear, and I said, gee, I got to learn this medicine. So that was an impetus for me to start studying Chinese medicine and martial arts. But there are different ways to brew Dit Dow medicine. I know that Master Dugas sells Dit Dow Jow, different types of training Jows in his from his business, and there's a whole range of Dit Dow medicines that people can buy online, as well as buy from and make on their own. I will comment and maybe ask him, because some people say, okay, some people think that if you just get some brand off the shelf, you can use it for any purpose. There are cooling Dit Dow Jows, and there are warming Dit Dow Jows, and there are neutral Dit Dow Jows. So depending on what the stage of, say, your training or your injury is, it would be very harmful for you to use the wrong kind. Do you have any comments on that, Master Dugas?
It's like you said, depending on your injury, you can come in with something that's brand new, that's very hot and swollen. Say you got really overzealous at training and you did something, and the next day you wake up and your forearm is on fire and it's all swollen. Well, that's a hot injury. It's a new injury. We wouldn't want to put a very hot Dit Dow Jow liniment on that, because it's probably going to make it feel worse. And it might even increase the swelling because it's already hot. So you're kind of like putting gasoline on a fire. It increases the heat. Now, for somebody who comes in presenting with a hot, swollen injury, as Master Lee said, you'd want to use some kind of neutral or cooling liniment and, apply that. And because you want to get that swelling down, because they're in active inflammation. It hurts. So decreasing the swelling, getting rid of some of those fluids that are trapped in that area is the first step in addressing the injury. Yeah. And so, cooling. And some people don't even use a jow at first. They have they take cooling herbs and they put them in some kind of medium, either olive oil and beeswax or petroleum jelly, and then they put this paste. They call that Dit Dow Jow, a paste. Some people put a paste on, then kind of wrap it loosely in gauze, and they let that sit for 12 hours, and then that takes the swelling out. Then they start working on it with some kind of neutral moving, liniment. So, yes, it's interesting. Based on what you see, in my clinic, I rarely see somebody who comes in with an active swollen injury.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, it's a day or two later, sometimes longer. But I do have the herbs ready in case somebody comes in with something brand new. I'm like, great, I've got this cooling stuff. Let's put it on and see how good it works. Usually what I do is I see somebody said, oh, over the weekend I fell down and I got hurt. And I see them on Monday when they did it on Saturday. So usually the swelling's down and I can immediately get, a really strong moving liniment on there and open up that injury area.
In other words, if a person was in practice or something like that, training practice for football, basketball, hockey, or whatever, they got some type of injury, and if they were to come to see you or Master Lee, that you'll be able to know exactly what type of Dit Dow they would need in order to help to accelerate the healing of that injury, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, is that correct, Master Lee?
Yes. Talking about injuries and about cooling Dit Dow Jows. A lot of things that we do in Chinese medicine is kind of contrary to what Western medicine practitioners do. For example, the acronym RICE, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So suppose you running down a football field and you sprain your ankle, right? Your trainer would say, okay, use the RICE method. Now, in Chinese medicine, we don't apply ice to the injury. We apply cooling herbs because ice we consider as very shocking to the system. So if you apply ice to an injury, later on you may develop arthritis conditions. So we have cooling herbs for that. A lot of our Dit Dow Jows cannot be applied to an open wound. So you have to be careful. Some herbs you can't apply to an open wound because they're toxic. Now, some of the Dit Dow Jows you can actually take internally, but of course you have to be careful not to poison yourself.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm moving away from the ones, the Dit Dows that are actually for breaking up bruises, cooling, hot, and all that. I'm interested, are there Dit Dows that can actually strengthen your tendons, your ligaments, and your bones, fellas? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start off with you, Master Dugas.
There are herbs that are designed, or classified. When we learn all this information, we use what's called the materia medica, and every culture has a materia medica. It is what they, it's like the old medicine of that culture. Anyway, the Chinese materia medica has all these herbs classified into different groups, and what do they do? There are herbs for, helping deal with tendons, sending blood and nutrients for the tendons. Some of those herbs are neutral. In other words, they're not hot or cold. Others are hot. There might even be a few cold ones. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Some of these books are very large and, contain a, plethora of information. So, but right off the top of my head, I know there's a couple of herbs that, when people come in and they tell me, oh yeah, I've got tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, they've got, tendonitis going on in these areas of their arms. I've got a liniment that's got a lot of herbs for tendons, so I use that with great success with acupuncture, as well as, Tuina massage. I'm not a massage therapist, but as a acupuncturist, I get in there and I start, if there's some, painful muscles, I'll go in, reach in and, break it up. That's another great thing of having really strong hands is I don't have to use tools in my clinic. I just use my hands. Grab, scrape, poke.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. Again, same question, Master Lee. Is there Dit Dows that you can use for development of your tendon, ligaments, and your bones to make you stronger?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Master Dugas, and he talked about the materia medica. For our audience, many of whom may just be athletes or they're not really healthcare practitioners, some of the simple things you can do to strengthen your ligaments and tendons is to eat foods to do that. So if you don't want to go to an herb shop, you can eat tendons. For example, there's Vietnamese noodles called pho, which and they cook up the tendons so that they're very, very soft. And so if you eat light products, you know, if your kidneys are weak, we suggest you eat kidneys, right?
Yep.
And if your tendons are weak and ligaments are weak, then you can go to your local Vietnamese restaurant and order beef noodles with tendons, and that will strengthen your tendons.
They also say that Jello, the arthritis cure.
Yeah, gelatin. Yeah.
Jello's made out of tendons and stuff. That also strengthens up your tendons and ligaments. Now, a lot of people who got this advertisements for this show, it was called for Dit Dow, for athletic enhancement and conditioning and stuff. So, y'all have any special Dit Dow formulations that you can actually talk about on the air? Something that you would rarely put out?
Well, you know, all the martial arts schools have what they call secret formulas.
Right.
But in fact, they're not really that secret. Of course, we want to think that our formulas and our recipes are the best.
Yes.
But for the general public, they can go online and take a look and go to Master Dugas's website and order from him, and he can probably tell them what type of liniments that they need, because, again, it's like self-medicating. A lot of people, they want to go online and they'll order, say, for example, ginseng, right? Because everybody wants to have ginseng. But ginseng, for the wrong person, for the wrong condition, will be very harmful.
That is so true.
So now one thing that people can do if they're interested in the subject, and it's a fascinating subject, it can help people become better athletes and to heal themselves and heal common injuries, sports injuries, is a book by Tom Bisio. It's called From the Tiger's Tooth. I think is it From the Tiger's Tooth?
Tooth from the Tiger's Mouth, yes.
Oh, yeah. Tooth from the Tiger's Mouth. Thank you.
Welcome.
And it's a great book because Bisio is a martial artist as well as a Chinese medicine practitioner. And he gives formulas for Dit Dow Jow as well as liniments. And he explains things that are on the market today that people can order from Amazon.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds definitely good. What type of Dugas? What type of Dit Dow do you sell of the most at your shop, anyway?
I sell more injury formulas. I mean, there are people who buy training formulas. In other words, people that are training, martial arts, MMA, boxing, wrestling. They're getting beat up, so I have a good formula for bumps and bruises.
Do you make it yourself or what?
I make all my formulas myself, and I make them in an old way. I cook them, actually. I don't do what's called cold soaking. Cold soaking is where you take your herbs and you put them in a container, and then you add the medium, and the medium is usually alcohol. Some herbs, you need 50-50 mix is the best, because some herbs need alcohol dissolved, others need water. So when you have them together and have the perfect mix of alcohol and water, you get a really strong solution. I was taught how to cook liniments because it's a little different. It's a little old school. And I met somebody who did this and they taught me. And I like the product. I like the result. Now, that doesn't mean cold soaking your herbs is inferior or anything like that. It just means there are, many different ways to make a liniment. You can do low heat. You can do cold soaking. You can do cooking where you're doing high heat for very certain amounts of time, pressure cookers. You can get really elaborate with making liniments, but the easiest way is just you're going to take the herbs, whatever formula you get, you're going to put it in a glass container. You're going to add alcohol. You're going to put, you're going to seal the container and then put it somewhere dark. It's great to put in the closet, or put it in the basement or the garage if it's nice and dark. And then you shake it up, because you want to basically try to get as much active components from the herbs into the solution, into the liquid. And then that's the liquid you rub, on your injuries or on your areas that you're training. And so, yeah, it's fun. My house smells like a curry shop. If you look behind me, these are all my herbs. This is my office, and I'm sitting in my office, so I have like almost 300 herbs in these containers, and then you can't see because I'm sitting down, but above I've got like all the herbs on top, so it's just floor to ceiling herbs here. This is my herb room. And it's very aromatic, and it smells wonderful when I start cooking these things, and people always respond and say, "Wow, that smells really good. What are you making? Chinese food?" And I go, "No, I'm making, medicine."
Yeah. Okay.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah. Now, Master Chun-Li Lin of Spring Forest Qigong, he has a expression that he has, good, better, and best. Remember that, Han Li?
Yeah, that's a great expression.
Yes. So there's a good way to use the Dit Dow. There's a good way, there's a better way, and then there's the best way. Okay, good, better, and best. So I think the good way is just you going in and just finding a good. What is the? All right, I'm gonna ask y'all this question, Master Han Li. What is the good, better, and best way for the application of Dit Dow?
The best way is to, first of all, determine what your goal is. Mm-hmm. If your goal is to treat traumatic injury, then you would get a formula that does that. If it's an acute injury, as Master Dugas said, you would get a cooling formula until you reach stage 2 or 3 of the injury, and then you might get a neutral or warming formula. Now, if it's for training purposes, then you would have a different purpose for doing that. I like to kind of emphasize the importance of consulting a good herbal practitioner,
and that's best,
so that you don't self-diagnose what your problem is. No, but I know that people will do that. People will want to do an over-the-counter thing. So I like to recommend a couple of things that everyone should have in their medicine cabinet, whether you're an athlete or not, or you're just Joe Blow or Joe Sixpack, and you want to have something in your medicine cabinet in case you have a cut or scratch, or you get a sprain, or something like that. So one is a 5-photo brand liniment that you can get online. What I like about 5-photo brand is that you can actually apply it as an antiseptic, and so if it's a good first aid type liniment, and you can use it as a Dit Dow Jow, because it's a neutral, thermally neutral kind of Dit Dow Jow. Mm-hmm. The second thing, and of course you can't drink it, you just apply it as a topical. Now the second thing that is very useful is called Yunnan Ba Yao. Yunnan Ba Yao is very, very good formula. It's a secret formula, actually, that you can order online, and the Chinese army has their first aid bandages impregnated with this Yunnan Ba Yao. It's a powder. It's the meaning is the white powder from Yunnan province. So it's a secret formula, but anyway, it's available now, and you can apply it topically, and you can also take it internally. Now, I don't suggest that people take it internally unless they consult their herbal practitioner. But as far as, say, a cut or a wound, because in martial arts we have a lot of injuries from trying to spear each other with sharp objects and stuff like that. And so I always keep it handy, and as soon as you apply it, it's very healing, and the bleeding stops. It stops bleeding, but the miraculous thing is that it doesn't clot up. So it stops bleeding without creating blood clots, so it can heal faster. Mm-hmm. And there's a little red pill that you take that comes with every package for shock. So if people go into shock, they can take this little red pill. Master Dugas, you know about this. You have any comments on this?
Oh, Yunnan Bayao was great. There was a period where it's back on the market, but there was a little period where it was off the market and the prices went up. It was interesting because it's widely used. Great for first aid kit, because like Master Lee was saying, when you're training and you get to certain levels, you start picking up implements and tools and you start applying them, at another person, and while they have an implement or tool and they're trying to do the same thing, and your fingers get smashed, you get cut, not seriously, but you get cuts and scrapes. You don't want to get infected, so you put the powder on the wound and it burns. It actually cauterizes, and depending on the big size of the scratch, I remember putting it on for the first time and I was amazed because little pinch of powder, put a Band-Aid on it, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, it's not bleeding anymore.
Wow, that is so cool. I just got a message. Master Dugas. You got that coconut with you?
No, I don't have a coconut with me.
Oh, okay. I'll have to sit it.
I know people come up to me when I'm doing workshops and they hand me stuff and they go, "Can you break this for me?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I go to break it over them and they go, "Hey, no, that's not what I meant." I'm like, "Well, you didn't say how to break it. You just asked me to break it." So I'm like, "Come here," and gunk. No.
He didn't bring a coconut. All right, you got that, everyone. He didn't bring the coconut. Maybe next time.
No, it's Sunday. It's my day off.
No.
No.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl. All right, you got also thing about arm body. Okay, you also do this thing on arm body, isn't that right?
It is. I mean, a lot of people do this kind of training. It's not anything. It's not the secret of. Like Master Lee was talking about, they like to market some of this information in these very strange ways and make it seem mystical and magical, and it actually is just grounded in a lot of physics and science. And the iron body training I was exposed to was to first develop the fascia of the body by doing various exercises.
Okay, Dugas, what is fascia for anybody who don't know?
Fascia, for those of you, there's a layer of tissue that is between between the muscles and the organs, and it covers the entire body. It is like a suit. It's a suit of tissue, and when you train this tissue, it thickens, it strengthens, and what you then can do is then you can use the body in a much more coordinated fashion than if you did not train these things. We talk about body coordination, mind, body, is one. Well, there is a physical connection that everything from head to toe, front to back, there's a connection with this fascia. And so if you can strengthen it and then you can use it in application, and what we do is the iron body training is a lot of twisting. How I learned it first, there's a lot of twisting exercises.
Really?
And
Okay.
you put stress and tension into the body. And as we know, if you look up Western anatomy, definitions, there are two laws that we're talking about here. We're talking about Wolff's law and Davis's law. When you put stress on the body, onto muscles and to fibers, they thicken, they get stronger. Over time, they remodel, they get denser. The same thing happens with osseous tissue, bone tissue. If you put stress into a bone, it's going to get stronger and it's going to get, thicker over time. That's why resistance exercise is really great for the bone density in the body, because when you put stress into the body by doing body weight, by doing kung fu, by doing tai chi, even just doing standing forms of meditation, you're going to increase, the bone density of your lower body, because that's how we connect to the ground. And gravity and your body mass will then go through, the force is going to go through your structure. Your body's going to get stronger by just standing still. So, that's the other thing we can talk about is all this so-called internal training and quiet training that are actually very, they lead to very active forms of application. In essence, the training is very quiet and slow, but then you can then use that and go on and, be faster, stronger, because like we were talking about before, you're not only training the muscles to be stronger, but the more you relax and the more muscle fibers you can relax and have them, elongate, then that means you can take those muscle fibers and use them in movements. And so you have more muscle fibers, you can move faster. If you can move your mass faster, you're going to have more power. It's simple physics.
How does twisting increase the density of the fascia on the muscle?
Well, when you're standing in a stance and you're twisting your body in either direction, you're actually going to cause stress to come through the structure in various angles. So by using the arms and the body and twisting in a multitude of ways, you're putting stress and pressure on all of the fascia in the upper body. Because in this kind of training, you stand in a stance and you don't move. So that pressure in that stance is going to build your legs. Mm-hmm. Master Lee knows this very well. When you started training back in the day, most teachers said, okay, open up, show me your horse, and you would open your legs up and drop your weight down, and you would hold this stance until the teacher said, okay. Mm-hmm. And it was a test, and a lot of teachers would go away, sit down, and start reading the paper, and
finish eating.
And I bet you Master Lee's got some incredible stories of his teachers, and okay, we're going to do horse training, horse stance training, and students today have no idea what some of the older people went through for training, and I can only imagine what Master Lee went through.
Yeah, well, you know what the definition of old school is, right?
Yes.
It's the day before you got in.
Yep.
It's the day before you joined the school or the organization. But getting back to the fascia, and I know that Malik, the last time you mentioned your interest in the fascia and also the training. I think everybody recognizes now the benefit of functional training. Mm-hmm. Whether you're doing weightlifting, you're doing aerobics or plyometrics, it has to be functional. It has to be something that you can use for everyday life, and it's not just about building big muscles. Mm-hmm. But the fascia and also the tendons and ligaments, these are functional because as people age, as we all age, the ability to maintain our posture and to maintain our balance is so vital. And Master Dugas was saying about standing. So one thing for our audience is a simple thing, is what we call standing training, or what we call Zhanzhuang in Chinese martial arts. It's a very, very challenging. Now, Malik, have you heard of Zhanzhuang?
No.
It translates as the standing post training. Now,
I've heard it.
You know about well, you're a martial artist, mm-hmm. and you know about the horse stance, right?
Yes.
Now this is actually simpler than a horse stance, but also more difficult. So all you do is you stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Mm-hmm. You bend your knees slightly, and you hold your arms up like you're hugging a tree. Right?
I got.
And you hold that posture. Now I can guarantee that if you haven't trained in this method, you can take any linebacker from the NFL, challenge them to stand still for 10 minutes. At the end of 10 minutes, their whole body will be shaking. Mm. But it's so powerful. This is so powerful because not only does it strengthen the tendons and ligaments and the tissues and the fascia, mm-hmm. but more importantly, equally importantly, it drives your chi, your energy, through all your energy circuits. Mm-hmm. This is an overlooked aspect of training, and it's so beneficial because you're not driving your heart rate up. Mm-hmm. So you're putting tension on your body, driving the blood and energy through all your fibers, mm-hmm. and yet you're not creating any undue stress on your heart.
Okay, that's it. Now, I learned about it from two things. First, I was introduced to standing post exercises from a friend of mine who studied Falun Dafa, real good guy. Okay, so that was it got a lot of bad news, but just like anything, regardless if it's Christianity or Muslims, you got your good points and you got your bad points. Okay, or bad people with that. But I got to say one thing, that the exercises actually does work. And I forgot the Chinese name that they use in Falun Gong. But then the second one was in Spring Forest Qigong, when you go down and you put your hands out and you open up and then you close, just like
that. In Spring Forest Qigong, we also have this standing post, but we we even have a more challenging exercise. It's in level 2, where you use the sword fingers. You use the sword fingers and you hold the sword fingers out, or the palm, which they do in the Hongga. So you use the palm, thunder palm. We call it thunder palm, and you stand like that. If you can stand like that, for a couple of hours, you'll be very, very strong. I guarantee you, you'll be amazingly strong.
Yeah. So
and the strength will be what we call internal strength. By that we mean it's building from the inside out. So you'll see people who don't look muscular. They don't even look athletic, but they're really, really, really strong. And if you try to push them over or try to unbalance them, you're going to have a hard time.
That's absolutely true. And that's it. Standing post exercises, thunder palm, Spring Forest level 2 teaches a thunder pulse. And yes, we do have 10 minutes. Dale, I'm trying to find that arm body video of you.
I emailed it to the support staff.
It's okay. When I look for Google, and this also for the radio people out there, when I look for, if I Google that on the YouTube, keywords what I look for?
Dale Dugas Iron Body, I would imagine. Iron Body demo? Yeah,
I'm looking for that. What would be a picture? Would it be, I got Dale Dugas Iron Body, page 12, Kung Fu. I got Breaking the Bottom Brick.
Oh, dear Lord. It's my Combat Iron Palm Iron Vest Association. That's my channel on YouTube. Or if you go to Dale Dugas Lickac. I know, licensed acupuncturist. It sounds kind of strange.
It is funny, yeah.
May I ask, Master Dugas, you mentioned the twisting and so forth in your iron body training. How about the body
tapping,
like tapping, and you use those hitting techniques?
As I was taught, my teacher taught me the internal stuff first. So we did all the standing and the holding postures, and then the twisting postures. So what he showed us was we did 10 minutes of standing in the beginning, warming up. We did all the moving exercises, and then we did a seated meditation. And then once you did that for a year or two, depending on what level you wanted to train with, then after that, you started actually hitting yourself. And you start with your hands, and, I would hit my whole body, front to back, top to bottom. And as I progressed in the training, you start using tools. So in other words, once I get used to slapping myself with my hands, I get a little stick and then start tapping with a stick. Some people take a bunch of chopsticks and they tape one end, or they bind it at one end, and then it's like this loose kind of bamboo broom. And then they start tapping themselves with the chopsticks. I have a piece of copper wire. It's copper wire that's been unfurled, so it looks like a copper broom. And I hit myself with that, and it makes a really loud racket. It's like this metallic clacking. So, of course, my wife and I are trying to watch TV or something, and I'm like, hey, I can train while we're watching TV. So I'm sitting there whacking myself, and, of course, it's making this really big cracking metallic sound like a kung fu movie. And, of course, the wife's getting mad, but I'm like, hey, look, I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm multitasking. It never works, so I have to put it down because she gives me the evil eye,
All right, finishing up on the 7 minutes that we got left, we're going to put on the demo of you, Dale, doing the arm body. Go ahead whenever you're ready, Robert. Okay, that was the demo for the arm body. And again, with the twisting, with the tapping, what we actually did with that was strengthen the fascia that's put on that's the wetsuit on top of the muscle in order to help to prevent injury, correct?
It is. And then you can activate it. We do something called filling, where I kind of imagine my body's like a big bass drum. And it's not connected to any breathing or anything. It's just I fill my body, and I get a very drum-like, rebound action. So when people hit me, if I don't move, I can kind of bounce people away from me. So when they hit me, they just get kind of rebounded back into them, and it's kind of funny to watch because people kind of stumble and fall. Those were two of my kung fu brothers who were hitting me, and I wasn't going to stand there and give them a frame, what we call a frame, because it's not what you're supposed to do. In a fight, you're going to be moving, and it's great that you can kick me in the ribs, kick me in the spine, punch me, and I don't really care. I'm just going to move around and do what I'm supposed to do. But that's just a little bit of what you can do if you put your mind to something. You get some kind of training material and you work on it, like Master Lee talked about. This is a kind of kung fu that I do. I do iron skill stuff. I like the training. I like training, this kind of thing. It interests me. I like the benefits because it makes me a very resilient person. It was great when I was working in the security field. Now I don't do that any longer. I just treat patients. So, but the benefits are there. I still have great health, and hopefully I'm going to be 50 soon, and then hopefully I can live to be 90 or 100 like some of my teachers and grand teachers did. So that's something to look forward to, and I use this material to better myself, and then to help other people, because when I'm strong I can give more acupuncture treatments in my clinic. So I use these things to keep me healthy.
Okay. Now, we got 4 minutes before the show's over with, so I'm going to tell everybody there out in the audience. Again, I got Dale on the show, talked about his iron skills, and Master Hanley on the show also to talk about the Dit Dow and everything. Very rarely you come across people out there who know about Dit Dow and know about these skills to help you to enhance your athletic and your physical training. With the arm palm, with the coconuts, striking and everything, again, by working on your grip, by working on your forearm and everything, I'm looking for you to be able to hit a ball further than what you normally would, be able to throw one what you formerly would, be able to throw a football, be able to hold a tennis ball racket, all the things as far as the arm palm the arm palm skills that are learned can enhance your abilities in sports. And why is that so important? That's to give you the competitive edge, because a lot of you out there may be looking for athletic scholarships. Well, this could be your edge that you need in order to get that athletic scholarship. A lot of you out there may be able to try to go to get the pros. This may be your edge in order to go to the pros. You looked at the arm body technique. A lot we've heard about it in Kung Fu and every time. Is there a special conditioning system that can actually help you to prevent yourself from having the injury? It is. It's called arm body training, and Dale Dugas has actually been through the training with that. And the most important thing, we have a formulation called Dit Dow. Now, what the Dit Dow actually does is to enhance your body's ability to be able to heal itself, also for the strengthening and conditioning of tendon, ligaments, and also bone. Now, a good thing is that you can go out there and you can find a ligament, you can find a Dit Dow, you can throw it on Tiger Balm or whatever. I mean, that's good. Better thing is that you can call these people up and ask them what's the best thing up. You can call Dale and you can call Master Lee, and they can tell you some good stuff that you can actually use. The best thing is that you can see these people in person in order for them to give you a diagnostic, to actually create for you a system in order to use these ligaments and everything, in order for you to develop yourself as a stronger athlete, as a stronger person. Master Hanley, could you give us your contact information, please?
Yes, I'm at the Sports Edge Acupuncture in Herndon, Virginia. You can find me online. Just Google Herndon, Virginia acupuncture, and my page will come up.
Okay, super. And yourself, Master Dugas?
You can contact me. I'm at Jade Tree Wellness Center. That's in St. Petersburg, Florida. And the phone number there is 727-344-8690. You can also find me on the web. You can just Google my name, Dale Dugas. I'm at daledugas.com.
Okay, all right. And that's anything y'all like to add, anyone?
Master Lee?
It's been a pleasure to be on the same show with all of you, and good luck and thank you.
Okay, and you too, Dale. And everybody out there, go Seattle. This is Health Awareness Talk. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Have a great night, guys.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.